Welcome to City on a Hill Gaming, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast. Let's meet our players.
Hi, I'm Grant, and I'm playing Trather Wimlin, a human fighter.
Hi, I'm Jenny, and I'm going to be playing John Abermere, a Crimson-born human.
Peter, Bertrand Greystone, Dwarven Forge Cleric.
William R. Aarakocra Magi.
Daniel, I am playing Vatten. I am a half-elf ranger.
Hi, my name is Ben, and I am Twig, or Shem. I am a rogue bard and a Goliath.
We hope you enjoy our episode. Welcome back to City on a Hill Gaming. I am your Game Master Ryan, and it's time for more of that 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons goodness.
That's right, we're back.
Yep.
We got almost everyone. We are missing the William, but hopefully he will be back next time. And short recap, because it's been a hot minute since we rolled dice. When we played last time, we had a special guest. Justin came on, and he and his villain Marianus had a nice little tussle with you guys in a sort of half-sunken, falling apart city that he was trying to raise from the deep. And he might not have been going about it in the best, most appropriate manner in terms of violence.
Yeah.
But
sane, not particularly sane.
You guys did try and help him.
Not be his fault, so
not exactly
yeah.
accurate.
Well, I mean, he couldn't get a hold of Josh Groban.
Hey, no. I like that
raise
song.
it up.
I like Josh Groban. I like that song at least. Okay.
Sorry, gratuitous reference. I'm in a mood today.
It wasn't.
Buckle in, everybody. It's going to be a wild ride.
Buckle in, kids. We're going to go play tabletop games. All right.
We're going to Danieltown.
Is that like Flavor
No one wants to go to Danieltown.
Yeah. Yeah, but, Daniel instead of Guy Fieri, so...
Will you bleach your hair?
I will.
Side note,
No.
Side note, I may have been considering it, but I probably won't do the spikes.
Fair enough. Okay, so you guys, you had your fight with Marianus, defeated Marianus, and then your lovely friend with the shield and the extendy mace showed up with a giant beast guardian to protect Marianus' spear from further inappropriate use.
Yes. Good old Extendy Mace.
Extendy Mace.
That is now their name because they won't tell us our name.
They do have one now, as of literally today.
Hooray!
I crowdsourced a name.
Hello, Lady Extendy Mace.
Yes. It's a Lady Extendy Mace to you.
Fair.
Oh.
She's like, excuse me, it is Countess Extendy Mace.
Duchess, thank you. All right.
We lost a Ben.
I think we did lose a Ben. There's a couple of the sort of deep elves still in the room. Some of them have dove. There we go. That's the word. Maybe
Have dived.
Have dived. Okay.
Had dived is correct.
Had dived. Okay. Had dived back into the water. Thank you, Jenny. So she looks at you. Right. Well, now that with the spear, yes, it is dealt with. We have a more pressing issue, I believe. I apologize for replacing one problem with another.
What's going on?
If I had to guess, would this issue be reptilian, black, has some wings,
Loosely dragon-shaped.
vaguely dragon-shaped?
Vaguely dragon-shaped. It's possible, yes.
Yeah.
It is come to our attention, as you have been somewhat aware, he has been gathering something of an army.
Oh, that's not good.
No. I mean, you've seen the Crow, the Orcs, the Kinku, the Ebon Wanderers in the desert. All of his...
Wait a second. The Ebon Wanderers in the desert are his too? The people
yes.
with like
The four with the
swingy thing?
Yes, the one they are searching for is him. Is Senno. I wonder, awaiting his readiness.
Well, this is all great news.
Bertrand is just like pacing in a circle, like tugging at his beard, going, "That's not good. That's not good.
In my mind, and this is to some extent up to you, I believe we need more information. And we need more allies. And as she says that, actually several of the deep elves kind of step back out of the water. If you're willing, we would like to assist you. I know we started down this path because of Sanot, but we do not wish to continue it. He is a menace.
And we would also like to help you if we can with your city. I don't know what's in our power, but if it's possible, we could help you as well. And this would be the first step towards redemption and helping right some of the wrongs that have happened here.
We'll take it.
Hey.
Ryan talking, not one of them. You have a handful of allies. Obviously, you have Mace Lady.
The Leonin, I don't know what they're actually, the Thundercats.
The Thundercat, the Jedit. But yes.
Thank you. Sorry, didn't have my notes in front of me. I apologize.
Good. I kind of like that too. The Leonin is probably more accurate, though. Yes. I mean, it's literally Jet. It's a word I pulled off of a card too, so you're not wrong. You have Melee.
We've got kind of our freelance adventurers for hire people, probably.
Sure.
I don't know if we have enough gold to convince them to take on an army. I am Warden of the Crossroads, and we could probably, along with Trather, I'm sure that we could convince at least have some sort of support from the Crossroads in that area. So we have a little support there.
You do have Bastion and Saley and
the Hawk and their group.
Yes, and the Hawk and the Shepherds. So it's not like an insubstantial thing.
At least a few good family members back home too.
Sure. There might also be some dwarves. You know there are more in the area than you realized. That is a thing. So you're not without options, but you are without a lot of concrete information. You've been a lot of places. You've seen a lot of orcs.
We know we can find the dragon.
Yes, after you visit Radden and retrieve the scales he's working on.
Yes, so we have a way to find him, and we have a group.
You would need to gather everyone.
And I think we need more information and planning.
Okay.
Because there's no way what group we could put together would be able to match an organized army without a plan.
Especially one led by a dragon.
There is that.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole flying breath weapon thing definitely is a little bit of a force multiplier there.
It puts a little damper on things, yes.
It'll be okay, I'm sure. I mean, you guys already beat one dragon. That's not nothing. And you only had to talk to her.
I'm not sure we beat her. We talked to her. She was reasonable.
Let's be more amicably met after, a short walk.
Potato.
Ooh, I could go for a bowl of potatoes.
Ooh, potatoes. Oh, and for the audience sake, since you'll hear him in the outro and maybe a little bit in the intro, we did lose a Ben to computer issues. Ben good, Ben computer not good. No Ben on recording tonight. Also,
bad Ben computer.
Not perfect system.
It's not perfect system. She looks at a lot of you. I think it would be best if we left this area and reconvene elsewhere, perhaps back with the Hawk and her people, or elsewhere. I have some plans I need to make, and I will see you in the future.
Okay, serious game-related question.
Answer.
Refresh Peter's memory.
Yes.
Where were the Hawk and her people set up again?
So they're actually in a city you haven't been to yet. It's in the same region you are. It's sort of loosely the capital of Anwaru. It is on the largest mountain in the region, and it's sort of it's what's called there's an orcish word but most people just call it the City on the Hill.
Okay.
And
okay.
it is where she typically operates from. It was the original Orcish capital of the region.
Gotcha.
So the tall mountain in Anwaru, that was that in the note that we found? Is that the same place?
Yes.
Yeah, when
yes, it came
the
from,
harvest was wrecked.
Yes.
Is that the name of it?
That is the place he was referencing. Correct.
All right.
He referenced a tall mountain, basically, because I know it's the city is essentially built into like partway up the cliff, sort of like someone's going to have to give me a name.
Kind of like the Pueblos or something.
I was thinking slightly different tribe, but yes, a southwestern Native American tribe that build like high up in the cliffs in like little.
So more
Anasazi.
Yeah,
thank you. That's the one I wanted.
Yeah, I was gonna say more like Pueblo adobe, less Petra carved out of a mountain.
Actually, more like what Grant said. More like Anasazi.
Okay.
Would be that kind of location. And it's not difficult to find. I'm sure at least 2 or 3 of your characters would have been there at some point in the past. I think that and definitely probably has made delivery of something when you were with the gang. I'm sure something went to the city at some point. Bertrand probably has relatives who live there.
So
Ginny's character John definitely knows where it is.
How difficult would the mountains be to traverse?
With permission, not very.
Okay.
It is guidable and path laden as long as you're supposed to be there. If you're not supposed to be there, almost impossible. And there's something at work there that literally changes the physical texture of the rock face, dependent on those factors.
All right.
Okay, so what's the best way to go about getting permission to go there?
You do have some people you could reach out to. You do know you've met the Hawk once. You have met and worked with several of her people, several of her personal guard. You also know her messenger. Both are messengers. Well, her messenger, the guy with the tiger, and her messenger, the guy the lady that likes to zap Grant. I mean, Trather.
The mist.
Yes,
person.
The mist. She'd be the easiest one to find, oddly enough, because multiple of you, or at least Daniel, I would say, would have contacts that would have contact with her due to a shared line of work.
Well, I mean, it's that or the you'll have to refresh my memory because it's been a while. The city that we saved from the elementals.
Oh,
we knew.
Yes,
we knew that that's a post for her, so it will be easy enough.
You could go back there. Yes.
To go there for a contact point to get permission.
I believe that's Grevin.
I have another thought if John is willing to give it a shot. Is there some way that John can attune to the Crimson Rift energy and track her down that way? Because they both share a common origin of their supernatural abilities.
I mean, that would be really cool.
It is possible John has the ability to notice a fellow Crimsonborn more quickly than the average person would. There's a radiance, but not to
John's
the level.
Mostly about refraction of light. It's not about resonance. It's about refraction of light for him mostly.
Yeah,
I dig the idea, but I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, I don't think we could tune John's detect magic like a Geiger counter until it starts going off. As cool as that would be, we would probably be doing something wrong if John's suddenly saying going. So maybe we shouldn't.
Probably. It sounds fun, I admit.
Yeah.
Sure, yes, but unlikely. Now, yes, to the point of visiting Grevin again, absolutely, that is an option.
Yeah.
You're very popular there.
Yeah, I would be willing to say that we can start moving towards Grevin unless there's something else we need to be doing or more information we need to get. We can start moving towards Grevin, and then Vatten's going to start chewing on an idea about that city on a hill.
Okay.
Because it's, as you said, it's very, very defensible. So if we could provoke an attack, or if we could give the dragon some reason to focus on attacking that city first.
Oh, that would be good turf to defend. Yeah.
It would be good turf to defend, and it would be easy to trap an army there to keep the dragon preoccupied, and then being able to take the dragon.
Well, and the other thing that's nice about okay, so this will go over well with Bertrand, because there's another thing that's nice about highly advantageous situations like that, and that's that, like, one side will tend to realize that they're beaten more quickly, and so there's less overall loss of life. So that would be a good thing all on its own.
True.
Yeah. The only problem would be making sure we can perhaps try to figure out a way to workshop something decisive, because the last thing we want is this like Pyrrhic victory on the mountains where a city's being laid siege to and supplies are being cut off and things like that. We want to be as decisive as we can, but
yeah,
it would be a good place to maybe not necessarily set up an ambush. I'm not opposed to the idea, but just being able to cut off, like trap an entire army in the mountains and then deal with the dragon.
So here's a thought. Like, what kind of climate are we looking at in those mountains? Is it really like hot? Is it cold where there's snow, where we can create some artificial avalanches and just strand an army in a pass someplace?
Well, we can do rock slides whether or not there's snow.
Yeah, but snow is faster and easier. You can just use like loud noises in some cases. I mean, somebody with some thunder spells would probably be able to create an avalanche pretty easily.
I will say, like, no snow, and with the way the city is built into the cliff face, rock slides are a problem in terms of like structural integrity of the.
Well, we're kind of thinking like whatever path you would take to the city,
or a path of retreat that we could close with a rock slide.
You think you wouldn't need the rock slide to close it? That's maybe something the mountain might do on its own, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Neat.
Okay,
all right, so we can chew on this while we're heading that direction, unless there's something else important that needs to happen beforehand.
So she turns to leave. She stops and looks at you. I have some things to attend to. If you need me before I happen upon you again, so to speak, go to Dacia. And Dacia, for reference, because I haven't said that name in a long time on this podcast. Dacia is of Izzo and Dacia, the people who first originally hired you in the first city. They run sort of that hiring adventures business you mentioned earlier.
Oh, yes.
That's Izzo and Dacia.
It has been a little while.
I had to go find that name, and I only found Izzo and then remembered the other half because I lost my notebook.
Oh, no.
So like the first two sessions, I don't know where went.
Oh, dear.
Everything else I've got on Google Docs, but that was before I was using those. Find Dacia and tell her you need Bethely. She will find me. And then she walks off.
She finally gave us her name. I thought that day would never come.
Fatten frantically scribbles down Bethely on some roll of parchment and puts it in his pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, Bertrand probably does the same thing. Thinks for a moment, pulls out 3 more, and scribbles those down and hands them to different party members. And
it's important. Okay, so
that's Fatten points at Melee and goes, Bethely. Write that down.
Right. Okay.
Sorry,
got it.
I know you're not my squire, but it's important.
I'm commandeering your squire.
just briefly borrowing your squire for a minute.
I am commandeering your squire for important official business.
Yes, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
Flashes badge.
Maybe I need to borrow your squire. Okay. So as you guys,
Bethely's like, I'm hurt. Sorry, the squire's like, I'm right here.
I already wrote it down before you did. I have a book for these things. So you guys head outside, and you notice a couple of things. It's getting dark, and you see a lot of dust kicking up in the distance. Not like quickly or in a rush, well, in a semi-rushed fashion, but in like a large caravan fashion.
Oh, okay. First, when you said dust storm, I was like, all right, well, time to put on the sand scarf and get ready for a fight.
Yes.
But
okay, everyone make me the perception check.
Okay. Oh, I have to remember how to do this. It's
There we go,
been
16.
15 years.
Back in my day. All right.
All right.
What the crap?
John gets a
That's a lot of
41.
D20.
Whoa, I'm sorry. I apologize. That's not. Don't look at that. I forgot how roll
I mean,
20
you
works.
got a 20.
Well, yeah. Well,
Across
instead of
3 of them.
so I forgot how roll 20 works, and instead of rolling a d20 plus 3, I just rolled 3 of them, which is close enough.
I mean, you succeed, I guess.
6.
There we go. Got him.
Doubt that sand got my eye. I forgot how to roll dice.
Oh, you didn't put the eye coverings on in time. All right.
Always wear eye pro. Always.
Always. 100% of the time.
Safety third.
Thank you for that too, Daniel. Because that was also really oddly specific. All right. Thank you. Jenny and Grant. What you see looks to be a very hastily, poorly put together caravan moving in a pretty quick fashion. This doesn't look merchant-like.
Does it look like refugee-like?
Yeah, is this refugees, or maybe they won't notice if we ambush them out of these wagons?
100% not the second one.
Okay.
First one's a possibility. You're not 100% on that part, but it's 100% not the second one. And you also notice a sort of a curious mixture of a couple different races. Some you've seen in the area, some you haven't. So you have dwarves, orcs with dwarves, which is fairly uncommon, and then Jinjai. And for reference for you guys, because I don't think I've said this to you before, and also the listener, Jinjai is the colloquial term I use for Genasi. So it's sort of a band of maybe 20 or 30 of them. Peter, these are not the kind of dwarves you're used to seeing in this region, and you don't ever see them with orcs on purpose. And there really aren't a whole lot of Jinjai in this area at all.
Scratches his beard and it's like, I kind of want to go see what's going on here.
They appear to have like the remnants of a village in carts.
How far are we away from the Deep Elf City we were just at?
You're basically next to it.
Basically next to it.
Unless
So
you
they're-
need to not be. I mean, if you want to be a little further away, that's fine. But
Well, it's like, are they? Does it look like they're headed towards the ruins of the city?
no, they are headed back towards the desert. From further, so like you guys came west to get to the ocean.
Yes.
This area, they look like they're headed east back towards the desert from the area you're in.
So they're heading into the desert.
Yes.
You
don't look like they want. They don't necessarily look like that was the plan. Maybe to start with, but that's where they're going now, at least directionally speaking.
So you said it looks like the remnants of a village.
Yeah,
worth of
it looks
people
like
are
they
like
hastily packed up everything they could into carts and left.
Okay, we should
Yeah,
definitely intercept and see if we can help these. Yeah,
Yeah, 300%.
Okay.
yeah. There's no way we're letting a group of like desperate looking people on the run, and there's no way we're not helping them.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you get closer, the handful of them that have weapons out do get a little defensive looking.
I'm gonna shoulder my weapons and put my hands up.
I'm going to smile and hold up my holy symbol. Like, we're here to see if we can help you.
One of the Jinjai step forward. Where do you come from, orc? Dwarf. I don't know why I said orc. Where do you come from, dwarf?
Oh, all over the place these days. But I got to ask you the same thing. It looks like you all packed up in a terrible hurry.
Huh. You are not wrong. We are being chased, I suppose.
Uh-oh. By
What?
whom?
Unsure. They literally fall from the sky.
What kind of things fall from the sky?
Whatever these creatures are. I'm uncertain, to be honest. We've not seen them before. They are certainly
What do
not
they look
regional.
like?
They are large, golem-like creatures. Appear to be made of stone, possibly. They
Can Bertrand make a roll to know what a gargoyle is?
no golem.
Oh,
Golem-like thing.
Golem-like. Yes, if someone wants to make a roll of some sort, roll those dice. Go for it.
I can do nature.
Sure. Nature, survival.
I got a sure. I'm going with it.
Arcana.
The Arcana?
I'll accept it.
17. There's no sand in my eyes here.
You're good. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So 17 nature, and then 15 and 18 arcana. So I mean, you guys are all familiar with golems, sure. In some form or fashion, they are construct creatures. To some extent, they are made of a variety of things, and they don't usually fall from the sky.
they also don't usually fly, which is why Peter the player thought gargoyles, because they're also made of stone
Fair.
and flying.
But golems are usually too heavy to get into the sky to fall from the sky.
Yeah, which suggests either like some kind of an airship or a very strong flying creature that's dropping these things like bombs, which is kind of a
Golem
scary
catapult.
Or
possibility.
the guys who summon stones out of the sky.
Yeah,
Or
it could be
someone
them.
built a very big trebuchet.
Yes.
No, get out.
Trebuchet. I like it. That's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, in French it means very bucket.
Huh. You learned something new.
It doesn't. Please don't.
Oh,
It's not.
okay.
Tray bucket. Very bucket.
Oh, very bucket. Okay, right. Got me.
Sorry. That's
That just, my
yeah.
Age of
Don't take
Empires 2
French.
kicked in and I wasn't sure.
Don't take French lessons from me. All French I knew I learned from Dexter's Laboratory.
It's a good source
Okay.
for that and for beards.
Okay, so
So
golems falling from the
Um,
sky, probably launched by some sort of catapult.
Jenny,
Summoned? Yes.
John has been perceiving
Mhm.
a lot, and you think there's something falling from the sky. And by falling, I mean with like less of a falling and more of like a meteor like trajectory.
Like, oh.
Like on fire re-entry from the atmosphere trajectory.
Like here and now?
Like at your generalish direction.
John looks up into the sky.
Definitely something that direction.
What direction would be the best direction in which to run?
I mean, they're all fairly open. There are some small bits of structure around you, but
Go left.
yes, serpentine. Everything's relatively open.
Okay.
And it appears to be making a straight line loosely towards one of the parts of the caravan, like to a specific cart.
Is
Other
John the
player
only
help?
one who notices
Do you
this?
have feather fall?
John is, yes.
I don't have featherfall because that doesn't have to do with light refraction, and I'm dedicated to an aesthetic.
I mean, fair.
You do you. I respect that.
I do me, I guess, or whatever. Ah! Yeah, no,
Jenny
John
remains
just
Jenny at
yells.
this hour.
John just points at the sky and yells "run" and starts running.
They seem very accustomed to whatever's falling from the sky, and yes, they do run. Except for two or three of them that do put up weapons.
There's one of them just goes, ugh, again.
Yeah, more or less. They seem surprised though. There's only one.
Oh, okay. How big?
Medium-ish.
Okay.
Like size category medium?
Yes, size category medium.
Okay.
To the point it is now, because it has gotten within visual distance for everyone. Everyone is now aware of this thing that is rocketing directly in your general direction.
Bertrand is going to look at like the caravan and make sure that there's nobody who's having trouble getting away from this.
One or two are struggling a little bit.
They will not continue to struggle if he has anything to do about it. Like,
done and done.
Protect the civilians.
So
has it landed yet?
Not quite.
Do I see where it's landing?
Yes.
Like I can do a 10-foot cube.
Of what?
Of
I have concerns.
Ice water.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hang on, let me just make sure of something. I'm thinking about doing Phantasmal Force, where it's gonna land.
Okay.
But it's also made of fire, so my standard fire pit isn't gonna work. So I'm just gonna say bunch of spikes.
Oh,
Snowman.
okay. But this is an illusion, correct?
It is an illusion, but it has to make an intelligence saving throw.
Oh no. All right.
Or it
I'm
works
sure that's
like
fine.
it's real.
Okay. Where?
See, I think we talked about spike.
Oh
pits
wait,
earlier.
never. Oh, okay. I think John's gonna do it anyway because he doesn't know. It's not gonna work because this is probably a construct.
Oh, well, I mean, you know what it is. You made the Arcana check earlier.
That's fair. Okay, then John doesn't do it because it's a
Okay.
construct and Phantasmal Force doesn't work on constructs.
Sound, temperature, and other. Huh. That's other senses. That's kind of cool.
It's really cool.
Yep.
It is really cool. I remember when I took that spell though, you were like, "Hey, don't be like a meanie with it," and I'm trying not to be a meanie with it.
I appreciate that. I do like the idea, though.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think it appears to not be able to like course correct particularly.
Mm.
And so it just comes to a stop where it intended to, and it does impact the ground rather aggressively. And a large, shiny creature, stonish, bipedal creature steps out of a hole in the ground.
Oh dear.
And it looks towards one of the carts.
Nope.
But before an initiative gets rolled, do I have a chance to look up and see if there's like a contrail from where it came? Is it just like straight up, or does it look like it has a point of origin?
It has a point of origin.
In what direction?
Is it the moon?
It's into the it's sky. Like when I say like this isn't like it's the moon. This
Stop
doesn't
mocking me.
It doesn't look like it's something that was like launched from somewhere else on the ground and has like an arc that it followed.
But maybe perhaps dropped by some sort of large flying creature?
Wouldn't have this kind of momentum to be on fire for like actual re-entry. This made actual, and I don't know how this translates into 5th edition terms, this made actual atmospheric entry.
Fatten starts scribbling out terminal velocity equations in the sand. VT equals square root over... No, never mind.
Yes. Okay, so no, you're pretty sure this came from the actual...
Moon?
Sky. I won't go straight to moon.
Okay.
But certainly not... Like, the catapult thing was a joke.
Technically, while it's still in space, it's a meteoroid.
Thank you.
You're not
And
wrong.
once it's landed, is now meteorite golem.
At what
You're
point is
welcome,
it-
everybody.
At what point is it
Looking
a comet? That's an
aggressive.
actual
Let's
question.
do something about that.
Yeah, let's make it a series of smaller meteorites.
So actually, as you guys start to move, the Jinjai you were talking to just kind of like throws his arms out, and this rush of water comes from and the golem just kind of flies backwards.
That's a neat trick.
And it starts to stagger up, and I'm just going to assume you guys deal with it without you don't have to roll initiative for this.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question about golems in this universe. Do they follow the original golem rules of they have like the laws that they follow in their mouths on paper?
Oh, like there's an actual piece of paper like in their mouth that explains.
that gives them orders,
Oh.
tells them the rules. Their rules. Their laws.
No.
Okay.
Actually, Jenny, if you want to get close enough, make an investigation check. Or perception.
Okay. That's the wrong thing to click.
All right. As a point of order, while she's doing that, that's really cool, and I deeply appreciate the mythology behind that.
I didn't
That's
know
great.
that, but I dig it a lot.
Yeah, the original Golem legend is cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
super
that's
dope.
a Golem of Prague, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, 18 for perception.
Okay, so you notice on the golem's arm, a series of, it looks like runes have been carved into it.
Mm.
So maybe not exactly what you were shooting for, but something similar, possibly.
Okay.
They glow a little.
Okay.
Orangish.
All right. John's gonna yell, "Aim for the arm."
Okay.
Which arm?
The one with words on it.
The glowy
These are
one.
words?
And there we have an Order of the Stick reference.
Oh, very
I
nice.
prepared explosive runes this morning.
I dig it. So yes, if you aim for the arm, as it were, you assume it's not necessarily consistent per golem, but it might be. This one's the right arm. If you like, I'm assuming Vatten shoots it or something, and the arm comes off, and the golem just kind of slumps over. And the Jinjai looks at you. That's. I mean, not that one, but lots of that. Lots of those.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
How consistently? Like, are they on a schedule or is it random?
Random.
Hmm.
Some of them hit buildings. Some of them hit the ground. It varies. They came to the village maybe 8 hours ago.
Do we still have that protective blue shell necklace thing that we got in part with the part of the snail flail, but the smaller one, not the cube?
Oh, the pink one.
Yeah.
The little one.
What's that do? And could that help?
Interesting theory. I think it was it wasn't delivered. So it's supposed to go to Bastion.
Yes.
The Warforged Jenny, proper word for plant keeper.
Botanist.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
The Warforged botanist / druid / tiny mouse bird keeper. It is technically supposed to go to him.
Okay.
Eventually. I think John still has it.
Yes.
Okay. So because Vatten doesn't let's see. It's just my base Arcana bonus is only +1. I have a very loose understanding of how magical rules work, so I will literally ask the group,
okay,
would that be able to do something about this, or at least throw off the tracking, or could we use it in some way to help with this, at least temporarily?
I'd like to know what these things are tracking in the first place. You don't usually get massive golems falling out of the sky on random villages and then pursuing them when they run. That seems a little troubling.
It would have to be
excessive, perhaps.
All right, so I'm going to turn to whoever the obvious-looking leader of this village is and ask them, is there anything of value that they would be seeking? Because it seems to be looking at a single caravan, right?
I mean, just this caravan in general. It was targeting a specific cart, possibly.
Yes. What's in that cart that they could track? Is there some sort of magical item that could be is there a good verb for honed in on?
Targeted.
Attracting.
Those are all great words. Let's assume Vatten uses one of those.
Sonard.
To be clear, any linguistic suggestions are out of character.
Oh, yeah. But
no,
maybe.
I like that some of them aren't.
Could be founded.
Yes, there you go. So he seems to not think so. Anyone who's looking towards the cart sees a dwarf gentleman very sheepishly try and hide something. Thanks for listening to City on a Hill Gaming. For more information, you can find us online at cityonahillgaming.com, email us at cityonahillgaming@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter at cityonahillgame. For more information on saving the game, you can find Peter, Grant, and Jenny at stgcast.org or at Saving the Game on Twitter. Thanks, and have a blessed day. Thanks as always to our fine Patreon backers, Joanne, Ashley, and the fine folks over at the Nerd of Godcast. We can be found over at patreon.com/CityOnAHillGaming. The things read, please. Por favor.
Cool. 20 years ago, I knew a man called Jiggins who had the health habit. He used to take a cold plunge every morning. He said it opened his pores. After it, he took a hot sponge. He said it closed his pores. He got so that he could open and shut his pores at will. Jiggins used to stand and breathe at an open window for half an hour before dressing. He said it expanded his lungs. He might, of course, have had it done in a shoe store with a boot stretcher, but after all, it cost him nothing this way, and what is half an hour? After he'd got his undershirt on, Jiggins used to hitch himself up like a dog in a harness and do shadow exercises. He did them forwards, backwards, and hindside up. He could have got a job as a dog anywhere. He spent all his time at this kind of thing. In his spare time at the office, he used to lie on his stomach on the floor and see if he could lift himself up with his knuckles. If he could, then he tried some other way until he found one that he couldn't do. Then he would spend the rest of his lunch hour on his stomach, perfectly happy. In the evenings in his room, he used to lift iron bars, cannonballs, heave dumbbells, and haul himself up to the ceiling with his teeth. You could hear the thumps half a mile. He liked it. He spent half the night slinging himself around his room. He said it made his brain clear. When he got his brain perfectly clear, he went to bed and slept. As soon as he woke, he began clearing it again. Jiggins is dead. He was, of course, a pioneer, but the fact that he dumbbelled himself to death at an early age does not prevent a whole generation of young men from following in his path. They are ridden by the health mania. They make themselves a nuisance.
What is that from?
Huh.
That's from Stephen Leacock. It's called How to Live to Be 200.
That's hilarious.
I like that he opens his pores so that he can close them again.
Yes.
Because it's fine. Ben.
Yeah.
Words, please. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Did we not believe hard enough?
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
The sky was an inky dark canopy as the antique wooden wagon rolled through the streets. Its aged wooden awnings were folded down over the sides, protecting the interior from the elements as well as prying eyes. Oddly, there was nothing pulling the wagon. There were no beasts of burden yoked to the front, nor were there any signs of technology at work. The cursed wheels were even made of old wood.
That's cool. I like it.
Fun.
Oh, I think you're cutting in and out again.
I will mute again real quick.
There we go. Okay. Very cool either way. Grant.
In their ruddy jackets of leather that reached to their knees, the men of Earl appeared before their lord, the stately white-haired man in his long red room. He leaned in his carven chair and heard their spokesman. And thus their spokesman said, "For 700 years the chiefs of your race have ruled us well, and their deeds are remembered by the minor minstrels, living on yet in their little tinkling songs, and yet the generations stream away, and there is no new thing. What would you?" said the Lord. "We would be ruled by a magic lord," they said. "So be it," said the Lord. "It is 500 years since my people have spoken thus in Parliament, and it shall always be as your Parliament saith. You have spoken. So be it." And he raised his hand and blessed them, and they went. They went back to their ancient crafts, to the fitting of iron to the hooves of horses, to working upon leather, to tending flowers, to ministering to the rugged needs of earth. They followed the ancient ways and looked for a new thing. But the old lord sent a word to his eldest son, bidding him come before him. And very soon the young man stood before him in that same carven chair from which he had not moved, where light, growing late, from high windows showed the aged eyes looking far into the future beyond that old lord's time. And seated there, he gave his son his commandment. "Go forth," he said, "before these days of mine are over, and therefore go in haste, and go from here eastwards and past the fields we know, till you see the lands that clearly pertain to Faerie, and cross their boundary, which is made of twilight, and come to that palace that is only told of in song." "It is far from here," said the young man Alveric. "Yes," answered he, "it is far." "And further still," the young man said, to return, "for distances in those fields are not as here." "Even so," said his father. "What would you bid me do," said the son, "when I come to that palace?" And his father said, "To wed the king of Elfland's daughter." Yeah, I know you do because your mother recommended this book to me.
What is that one? What is that one?
It's The King of Elfland's Daughter by Lord Dunsany, a pre-Tolkien fantasist.
Huh. Is that just
Excellent.
a portion of it, or is that the whole thing?
That is the first few paragraphs of the first chapter.
Okay. Huh.
It's a really wonderful book, and I do recommend it because it's English fantasy steeped in English myth as opposed to the retold Finnish myth that is Tolkien's work.
That reminds me, I have 2 George MacDonald books on my bookshelf that I actually need to get around to reading.
You should. I hear they're excellent.
Do it.
Peter.
I'm related to him. Sorry.
Oh,
Continue.
that's
Neat.
cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
From Genesis 18 onward, God keeps showing up incognito. In the New Testament, the Gospel of John describes the incarnation as the Word becoming flesh and dwelling amongst us. I like how Eugene Peterson in The Message translates this text. The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. The stranger God forces you to be a better neighbor. Indeed, Jesus started out his life as a refugee, fleeing Herod's persecution. Mary, Joseph, and Jesus fled Israel to live in Egypt as immigrants and foreigners. Jesus was that weird foreign kid sitting in the back of the classroom. Zechariah 7:10 says, "Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless, the foreigner or the poor." And now we see why. That refugee is Jesus. God comes to us as an immigrant speaking with an accent. Another example is Luke 24. It's after the resurrection, and 2 of Jesus' followers are walking towards the town of Emmaus, perplexed by the reports of Jesus' empty tomb. Then a stranger appears. Spoiler alert, it's Jesus, but they don't recognize him. This time, Jesus is, quite literally, a stranger. Jesus then explains to the disciples how the scriptures foretold the death and resurrection of the Messiah. As the trio draws near to the village of Emmaus, the sun is setting, so the 2 disciples extend hospitality to the stranger, welcoming him into their home for shelter and a meal. During that meal, Jesus takes the bread and breaks it, and in that moment, in the breaking of the bread, they recognize him. It's Jesus.
What is that from?
That is from Stranger God by Richard Beck.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Richard Beck is amazing. Derek White turned me on to him several years ago, and
Okay.
his stuff is wonderful. He has a blog that you'd probably enjoy called Experimental Theology. I referenced it a lot when we were doing the weekend reading stuff for Saving the Game for a couple of years.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Now I saw upon a time when he was walking in the fields that he was, as he was wont, reading his book, and greatly distressed in his mind. And as he read, he burst out, as he had done before, crying, "What shall I do to be saved?" I saw that he also looked this way and that, as if he would run, yet he stood still, because, as I perceived, he could not tell which way to go. I looked then, and saw a man named Evangelist coming to him, and asked, "Wherefore dost thou cry?" He answered, "Sir, I perceive by the book in my hand that I am condemned to die, and after that to come to judgment. And I find that I am not willing to do the first, nor able to do the second." Then said Evangelist, "Why not willing to die, since this life has attended with so many evils?" The man answered, "Because I fear that this burden that is upon my back will sink me lower than the grave, and I shall fall into Tophet. And sir, I be not fit to go to prison. I am not fit to go to judgment. And from thence to execution, and the thoughts of these things make me cry."
That's from Pilgrim's Progress, isn't it?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
Huh.
I happen to have a copy that turns out was printed in 1906.
Wow.
Oh.
Very cool.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
When I was in high school, I bought one that was written in, it said modern English. Technically, it was written in modern English, but updated English. And I had a whole book. It was really cool. And then I lent it to a friend, and she never gave it back.
Oh.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, but I managed to find an old copy in a vintage bookstore. Last time on Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, wait, what? Sorry. Oh.
Sorry.
Fun fact, Canada has a different Dragon Ball Z theme song, and I forgot that until I was about to bust into it, and I was like, oh, none of them are gonna know what I'm talking about.
I don't think I know the American one. It's okay.
The
The American one is just guitars.
Oh.
We have lyrics. We have lyrics. It's so corny.
I think that means
kind
you
of
have
love
the
it
superior one.
because DBZ was right after Reboot, and Reboot was like a must for me growing up. So
right, I
just had Batman the Animated Series.
Also,
How could you forget about Reboot?
I just momentarily. Also, you can tell which one of us is Canadian because they said DBZ.
Sure. I made it 8 seconds into the Canadian intro. She's not wrong.
She rarely is.
So far, I've had 3 lyrics. They've all been the word dragon.
Dragon, dragon, dragon.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's basically what happened.
Wait, it's what that. What? Which one did I hear then? Because that one does go.
Mushroom. Wait, what?
Wait, no, no.
That's a different thing.
That's what it reminds me of.
Same time period.
No,
it's not quite.
This also
Western.
Oh, look at my bad. It only says dragon, dragon twice. My apologies.
My Dragon Ball Z doesn't have drums.
Okay, we're
I like
moving
how
on.
we're starting with an outtake. This is excellent.
Yeah, I'll just click. I'm gonna leave it. It's fine. I may move it later.
Hashtag
later.
not my anime.
It's been a while since we gamed. I'm sorry for derailing.
I would complain, but this is literally what happens in every game.
Yeah, this is like a hallowed role-playing tradition. You don't game for far too long. You sit around, you waste the first half hour just being goofy, and then you get into the actual game. It's required at this point. I
Yeah,
think.
tell me all about it, Peter. Come on.
I mean,
It checks out.
in honor of Monty Python, we should make at least a few of those jokes first because we are doing D&D after all.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's true. And we lost a member of the cast just today, actually.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones.